All right. Welcome back in. Just another football show. We made it. It's the last one. Sunday night football. This is the last two fans for the week.
Yep.
Yeah, the last two fans for the week, the last game of the week.
Steelers, Browns.
Yep. Browns v. Steelers, third
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Third time this year. They split them. We know that week 17 was a little bit wonky, but
And
a
just
win's a win.
and just when you thought that it couldn't get wonkier, guess what?
Yeah.
It's wonkier.
Yeah, so it's going to be a really interesting one. We're going to see how the time off played out for the Steelers because they'd been falling apart, right?
Yeah.
Mentally, physically falling apart, and now they get
Just burnt out at times.
and now they get a bye. We'll see if that reinvigorated them or if it just kind of.
I don't know if this is going to be the test, but we'll
We'll
get into
do
my
it now.
opinion on that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Browns fan, Kaedin. Browns fans at this point, I think, are just sort of happy to be here, but we'll get his opinion on that. And then Steelers fan, Chris.
Happy to be here and careful what you wish for.
Yeah, that's 100% accurate. So let's get Chris on the phone first. We'll end it out with Caden. We'll let the Browns fan have the final say. Get Chris on the line. See how he's feeling about the Steelers rolling into Wildcard Weekend. All right, so now we're gonna talk to Chris, Steelers fan. Chris,
I'm assuming
Okay.
Chris is well
Hold on.
rested. He had a week of an off
A week off.
A week off. Sort of got right back.
Yep.
Right, Chris? You feeling pretty good coming into this game?
Yeah, I'm. After the game on Sunday, where we had our junior varsity playing up against Cleveland, who really needed a game. We kept it close. I didn't really expect it to be that close, to be honest with you. I expected Cleveland to come out and just kind of blow the doors off the Steelers, and it started that way. And they just let the Steelers back in, and that's kind of typical of the Browns.
Yeah, that's sort of the way that I wanted to go with this. We've sort of talked about this potential matchup for a few weeks. I had bullseyed this Week 17 matchup in a world where both teams needed this game, or both teams found this game to be important, and I just kept looking back at that match earlier in the season where it was basically just a no contest, and that's what the Steelers do to this Browns team over and over and over. It's one of those one-sided rivalries. Browns fans will tell you this is a rivalry. Steelers fans will say, "Wait, who? Little brother? We're talking about this team?" So
Yeah.
how do you feel coming into this game, especially coming off of a close matchup? Like you said, the JV squad was out there. I mean, it's a playoff game. It's a division game. They're always gonna get hyped and all that for this. But I don't know. If I had to rank the games, I was shocked that this game was a 3.5 point spread. I expected it to be much larger.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been around 7.
That's where I thought.
I think what you have here is, the familiarity thing, I think, favors the Steelers. Steelers are obviously more battle-tested in bigger games. But, the thing is with this, I think a lot of people are thinking, which Steeler team is going to show up? The one that we had to deal with for 3.5 games where they really couldn't do anything on offense. I mean, nothing on offense. They couldn't get the ball 10 yards downfield. Or are we going to see the second half against the Colts Steelers? And I think that's kind of what – I don't think any of us can predict what we're going to see. As someone who's watched every minute of every Steeler game for, probably two decades, I don't know what I'm going to see. But on the other end, on the Browns, I think getting to the playoffs for them, I think they are going to have we did it. We got in. And I don't know if that's kind of their finishing point. So there's a lot of questions in the air, and I think probably that's wider at 3.5 points. I don't know, or whatever it is. But it's really hard to predict because I don't know what's going to show up. What I do know, what is going to show up is the Steelers pass rush and the Browns running game. So those are two things you can count on because both travel well. And I think that's what's really going to decide this game. Can they get to Baker Mayfield, or will the Browns be able to run the ball down the Steelers' throats, which teams have been able to do?
Yeah, it's going to be one of those, looking at it on paper, arguably the biggest game of Baker's career up to this point, his first playoff game. First playoff game since '02 for the Browns. So a lot of these guys are out there playing their first playoff game. And on the flip side of that, you got a guy like Ben Roethlisberger. He's been down this road before. He's done this before. He's going to come in here cool, calm, collected, well-rested. And we'll see. If you look back at that skid, that 3.5 games that you mentioned, Big Ben didn't necessarily look as comfortable as he had through that first 10, and teams were getting some pressure on him, making him force a ball here or there, make a decision. You kind of find yourself questioning, I remember specifically in that Washington game, and then followed up with Buffalo. It's like, here's a guy that looks like he's afraid to get hit, and that's not how Ben Roethlisberger can play. Do you think that second half of that Colts game and then the week off has kind of got Ben right, maybe mentally, if there was a lapse there, and him questioning his own abilities or his own durability after coming off of a season-ending injury last year?
Yeah, and I think one of Ben's biggest strengths as a quarterback is his mobility in the pocket and getting out and making plays happen, and making big chunk plays happen. But when you're only doing, a 1 or 2 step drop and getting the ball out 3 yards, that's gone from his game. The deep pass, which he's one of the most accurate deep passes in the history of the NFL, that was removed from his game. And you're exactly right. It's like they did not want Ben to get hit. They're not going to say why, because they don't want to put a target on him. But, is it the arm? Is it the knee? Is it he's just the age? Are they afraid of the offensive line? Can't protect, which is a big concern going into this game, because they can't run the ball. Teams are playing, taking away those 5-yard passes. There's a lot of, wonder whys with Ben Roethlisberger, but we saw a glimpse of the old Ben for a half. But I need more than that. We saw at the beginning of the year, we hit that lull where he just 1 step, 2 step drops, balls getting batted down, passes drop. Because remember, there's a lot of traffic in 5 yards, and everyone was getting on the receivers. There's a lot of traffic in those 5-yard passes where distractions and people are thinking about their health with getting getting hit hard. So I could see why those drops were happening. Now that they threw the ball down the field a little bit, they're making the catches. A lot more one-on-one coverages. So I expect the Steelers to exploit that. If Mason Rudolph can and go for 300 yards, I expect Ben to do the same.
Yeah, Chris, you just stole my next point from me, so thanks for that. But I was going to bring that up. You talked, that deep pass that Roethlisberger's been historically good at has just not been a part of this game. But you saw Mason Rudolph come out here, and in a very tight game against Cleveland, one where they looked like they were going to play spoiler to the Browns season and upset them. He was very good at getting that ball deep. Sitting there on the sideline, well, not necessarily on the sidelines because he didn't travel with the team, but at home watching that game, watching the film back, watching them have that success deep, do you think that's going to give Ben a little extra juice? Now he's going to want to try and force that deep ball, knowing that they can do that and they can take advantage of this Browns defense that way?
I think they got to take some shots. If they start taking some shots, at least, whether it be incompletes or catches, which we hope, or even, you get the pass interference calls. If you start taking some shots early in the game, the defense is going to have to respect it, especially when you have a guy like Chase Claypool who could take the top off the defense, and you got to give him multiple looks on defense, and that would open up the running game if they chose to run the ball. That was why they were able to be successful with these 5 and 6 yard passes and having guys like Deontay Johnson break a tackle and turn it into 15 yards, or Ibram turning into a 3-yard, 4-yard catch into a first down, because they had to respect the deep ball. When that went away, so did the 5-yard passes. So even if it's unsuccessful and if they don't hit, the fact that they are going to try and do it, the Browns defense will have to respect that and play to that, because if they do hit it, it could be an 80-yard touchdown to Chase Claypool.
Yeah, you got the guys for the deep shots, and Johnson, Claypool, and even Juju can get some long passes going too. So I do think that you're absolutely right that they seem to get away from that for a while. They seem to be worried about Ben. Obviously, I think Ben's health was a concern there, and it really didn't help that you had the bye week kind of hoist on you back there in week 4. So getting that extra little bye week before you start in the playoffs, I think is going to be a good thing. We should see a revitalized Steelers offense. But with all of that, basically throughout the course of the year, we have never seen a good, strong running game. Do you think that the Steelers are going to be able to get that run game going ever? They haven't really needed to so far, but it's playoffs and it's a whole new league.
No, they've needed to. Unfortunately, they've needed to and have been unable to. That's been the issue. They've needed to run the ball in those games that they lost. In those games that they lost, that skid there was a couple of 3rd and 4th and 1s that if they would have converted, the games would have had different outcomes. They have to be able to run the ball. I think right now that the horse is out of the barn. They're not going to. They can't just turn it on in the playoffs. Connor, in my opinion, has never been anything special. He's a good feel-good story, but he's an okay running back who's injury-prone and fumbles. It's a very bad combination. I miss Le'Veon Bell. I haven't seen enough out of Snell or any of the other running backs to say, you know what, I'm confident that they can just turn it on against the Browns' defense in the playoffs. So I think it's going to be there to set up the pass. So the Browns, again, have to respect it. But I do not expect big things out of the running game through the stretch in the playoffs. And I think that if that's going to be their Achilles heel, it's going to be that.
Yeah, the loss to Washington, there was 21 rush yards. Like that for an NFL team to have played a full game and get 21 rushing yards. That's just
and a close ball game too. It wasn't like they were playing.
Well,
from
it's
behind.
14-0. It's 14-0. You got to start working. I know it's early in the game, but you got to start working the run. Because that you got to get the team out of their. You can't let them have the ball.
Yep.
You got the lead. You want to keep the lead. You're not going to turn off the game and turn things off. But you should have been able to run the ball, convert some 3rd downs, which they did not do against Washington. They did not do or even try against Buffalo, and they were ahead against Buffalo. It was a bonehead throw by Ben. In Cincinnati, I don't have any idea what happened there.
That's
but
inexplicable.
They have to be able to at least get the short yardage thing. Now, what I saw in the Browns game that kind of, raised my eyebrows a little bit is when they used Josh Dobbs. Is he the answer for 3rd and 2? Is he the answer for, to get the running game going, to respect the run? But I'm not a big fan of taking your best player, which is Ben Roethlisberger, off the field. So it's kind of a catch-22 for me. I like that wrinkle, but I don't want the ball in anybody's hand on anybody in offensive plays but Ben Roethlisberger. So it's definitely a catch-22. I don't know which I would prefer at this point, but that was a nice wrinkle against the Browns.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of the Taysom Hill effect that you're seeing throughout the league as teams are looking at the quarterback depth and going, well, this guy can run pretty good. Let's try him out. And speaking of running pretty good, and you mentioned it earlier, you said it's a guarantee, it's a certainty. This Browns rush offense is just amazing. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb, over 1,000 yards on the season.
Missed how many games?
Yeah, and missed a good portion of the season, at least 4 or 5 games.
Right.
How do you slow or stop this? I mean, obviously the best thing to do is to get out, score early, and sort of get Cleveland away from being able to run the football. But if this is a tight football game, and this comes down to it, how do you slow or stop a Nick Chubb?
You got to run. They're Blitzburg for a reason. You got to run blitz. You got to take that chance. But the thing is, you have to have discipline because if they start selling out against the run, Baker has the ability to take the top off the defense or bootleg out and run for 10, 12 yards and get a big play. So they have to be disciplined. They got to fill their gaps. They got Avery Williamson. I think is starting to get his legs under him, working with the Steelers defense. He's new, got traded midseason, along with Vince Williams, 2 good run stuffers. You got T.J. Watt coming off the edge. You gotta be disciplined. You gotta keep your gaps, and you can't oversell yourself to the run, even though they're running the ball, or you're gonna get burned in other ways. Because good running sets up a lot of other things on offense, and they really have to be careful. That's what makes me the most nervous is they're looking to sell out against the run, and they did that against the Tennessee Titans. I mean, they had Bud Dupree over center, behind the defensive tackle to just plug that middle. And eventually the Titans, adjusted and made that game when the Steelers were winning 24-3 or whatever it was. They put that game in doubt for the Steelers because while they were trying to stop the run, they're like, okay, well, we're going to throw the ball. We're going to throw it to A.J. Brown, and we're going to get an 80-yard touchdown. So that's what worries me with this game is they're going to do too much to stop the run.
All right, Chris. We did actually warn you before the microphones heated up. We haven't been so kind to a few of the people we've talked to this week. We need you to pick this game. Give us a score. Let us know exactly how you're feeling about how this one shakes out.
So I think this game is one where I think if the Browns are just going to – I think they're going to be overmatched in this one. I'm definitely not trying to be a homer, but I think the Steelers have enough pass rush to rattle Baker Mayfield. I think they will be able to stop the run. And I think what we saw in the second half against the Colts and arrested Ben is a good recipe, even without a running game. I think the Browns may score a little bit late. I look at this being a 27-17 win by the Steelers.
Sounds good. I could see it.
Yeah, it's hard to tell what you're going to get because we just saw the Browns game, but it wasn't even close to the full Steelers team. And now you're going to have, like you said, all the guys healthy and rested and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't want to over-punctuate that because, it wasn't Ben. Obviously, your quarterback is the most important. Your quarterback and your left tackle are your two most important players, but they didn't have T.J. Watt and Hayward, which are big players. But everybody else played their full slate of snaps. But, again, it wasn't Ben. You got a defensive player of the year, you got a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you got one of the best defensive linemen. That's a big part to take out. But everybody else was there. What I liked about the Steelers in that was they played motivated, they played hard, and the Browns really, really needed that game. I mean, it would have been an epic, historic loss for them not to make the playoffs in that situation to Mason Rudolph, and they only won by 2 points because they missed a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, it's something. We'll talk about it on our little. I'll get our guesses on Friday. But we appreciate having you on, man. If Steelers,
yeah, man, thank you.
Steelers get this W, we'll be contacting you this weekend and setting up something for next week. Get you come back and talk about the next game.
That would be great. I'll be rooting for him even harder now. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, take care now. Bye now.
All right, so now we got Kaedin. He's our Browns fan. He's been our Browns fan. And you're going to the playoffs, sir. I laughed. I messaged you and asked you if you were ready to talk playoffs. And you quickly responded, "What are the playoffs?" And I lost my shit. I appreciate your great sense of humor about the whole situation. Congratulations to you and Browns Nation on getting into the playoffs. I understand there's a really shitty situation going on with the team currently, but if we can sort of push that aside for now, how are you feeling?
Dude, I don't even know how to feel.
It's foreign territory, right?
Yeah, like I tell myself not to get my hopes up, and now I don't know if I should get my hopes up or what.
I get that, a Browns fan perspective.
Browns have been burnt before,
they've burnt others before. It was sort of funny this preseason. Ryan, the length of the show, every preseason we do our predictions and our previews, always harping on the Browns. They're going to turn the corner. They're going to do it, and then we sort of collectively
backed off of them this year.
Well, collectively, I think last season, I can't remember if Casey was on the same page or not, but Ryan and I were both very high on this Browns team going into last season, and then last season happened, and we went, no, we're not falling for it again. Burn me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or won't get fooled again, or something like that.
Never get fooled again.
Yeah, never get fooled again.
The Browns could lose this game by 80 points, and we'll still be the happiest fans in the league.
You're there, and you turned a corner, and it is really great to see. I think Kevin Stefanski was the perfect hire for Cleveland, bringing that sort of run-first mentality to this team has really sort of steered this offense in a right direction. You have seen Baker be able to throw the football and make some plays. You've seen Jarvis Landry be able to throw the football. They like to throw that wrinkle in there quite a bit. So, yeah, just getting here. Is that enough for Browns fans? You're here now. Do you want the victory, or are you taking time to just appreciate the fact that we have a winning football team that has now punched a ticket to the postseason the first time in almost 20 years?
I think with the direction that the team is going, especially seeing them play this year, I think we can, I don't want to say it, but get used to being in this situation. So, I don't expect a lot right now, but going forward, they can't blow this team that they've got right now.
Yeah, I can get that. I can see that hey, maybe I should get used to this feeling because there's a good chance that we'll be back, next year and the years to come. And they did that with without arguably one of their best offensive pieces, Odell Beckham, who spent the majority of the season on the sidelines. So you add that back into the mix possibly next year. I've heard some rumblings. We'll get into that in the offseason. But, yeah, this team sort of built, and it's finally looking like the team that it was built to be, and success is happening, and it's happening now and could continue.
Yeah, exactly. Did you guys hear what happened an hour ago before this recording?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No, we've been recording.
Rashard Higgins busted.
Oh, I saw him and Jedrick Wills were drag racing, huh?
Yep.
Smart. They were excited.
Exactly what you need to do right now.
At least it's not, hopefully they weren't under any influences or.
They were just in a hurry to get to the practice facility and lift some weights and get ready for the game.
I mean, I don't know how hard
What practice facility?
Well, Gold's Gym somewhere in 59th and something.
Yeah.
So
downtown Cleveland.
Yeah, it does seem, and you bring this up now, but it seems like that's unusual for this team, where last year it was every week there was some sort of off-the-field story. There was some, what shirt is this guy wearing? Why does Baker look like a drunk uncle? All of that was like last year. And this year it was just quiet for the most part. Quiet, and they just went to work. So I do think that there's a new culture building in Cleveland, right? You got all your key parts are kind of locked in for years. You got Stefanski and Andrew Berry, the GM, has done a fantastic job in his 1 year there. You got Baker, Chubb. All these guys are locked in for a while. And it does feel like the start of something, which is a really fancy way of saying that maybe look forward to next year. How are
we going to screw this one up?
The hand that you're dealt right now with the COVID situation, everything that's going on in Cleveland, it's not ideal.
No, you look at a team that could have punched their ticket against the lowly Jets 2 weeks ago, and COVID stepped in and said, no, sorry. And then, you lose that game. You get the players back. You eke out one against the backups for the most part in Pittsburgh. I think that was a little bit of kind of taking the foot off the pedal there in the second half of that game to allow Pittsburgh sort of back into it. But now the big news. Kevin Stefanski tests positive for COVID-19, putting him most likely out of the game come Sunday. A lot of the other coaching staff, due to contact and other positive tests, also out. So it's almost like while the Browns were able to get out of their own way and get here, like COVID had one more fuck you for Cleveland and said, hey, sorry, guys, this is it. How does this team rally at this point to get over a very good Pittsburgh Steelers team without Kevin Stefanski's presence?
Run the ball.
Yeah, it sounds like you could coach the team right now. Just get out there and tell them that.
That's the thing. I'm sitting here thinking about it. With Kevin Stefanski gone, the whole game awareness will probably be gone. They can script the whole first quarter, but what are they going to do after that when you have 8 seconds to get a play in?
Yeah, they have a relatively young coaching staff, but they do have some guys that have been around for a little while. Bill Callahan's one of them, but it sounds like he might be out as well, the offensive coordinator, or not, the offensive line coach, excuse me. There's some other guys that are going to have to step up, and usually we say that for the guys on the field, but your depth at coaching is going to have to step up, and I'm not sure about a guy like Alex Van Pelt, maybe Joe Woods, and some of the backup guys, but that's an interesting thing to think about that really most fans don't ever consider outside of this wonky year.
Exactly. It's going to be crazy to watch. I didn't have high hopes going into the game previously. I mean, we had a chance, but now it's just getting slimmer and slimmer in my eyes.
And I can tell.
Which I'm totally okay with that. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and I can tell by your, the tone of your voice that old, that a lot of Browns fans have to be going through, that feeling of, man, here we go again. Just when you think you got that step forward, it's 2 steps backwards. And like you said, just run the football. And Pittsburgh last week did not have an answer. Of course, they were without two of their stars on the defensive line. Did not have an answer for that. And not a lot of teams can answer that 1-2 combo between Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Outside of that, if you're in, like you said, in a situation, game awareness where someone has to make a quick decision on what play we're going to run here, what play we're going to there. Baker sort of needs that, I don't want to say calming voice, but that, that expertise that, Kevin Stefanski brought to the table, that trust that this is what we are going to do. Now it could be a Wild West situation where you've seen Baker look great or you've seen him really struggle
Kind
in
of
a
fall
situation
apart,
like that.
Yep. And I think that the two running backs we got, we just keep feeding them the ball more than we have the entire year. It seems like there's some weeks where they both get 10 carries apiece, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? You got the best running back tandem in the league.
And it's a offense that doesn't have a lot of veteran presence. You have Landry there, but guys like
This is new to him, too.
Antonio's out
Baker
this weekend, too.
Yeah, Baker and Chubb and Hollywood Higgins, all those guys are pretty young themselves. So it's going to be an interesting situation. I don't want to just mark down and pen right now that the Steelers auto win or anything like that, because this is a good, talented Browns roster. It's just kind of a rough hand that you were dealt that really, it just sucks, right? There's no sugarcoating.
Don't get me wrong. My expectations are at the way bottom, but that's just because I'm a Browns fan.
Yeah. You're used to it. You've been down the expectation road before.
Yeah, exactly. We don't expect anything, and then we're just happy with something.
Yeah. On the flip side of this, if you look at the defensive side of things, yes, Kevin Stefanski, that's going to hurt the offense, but the defense seems to be pretty easy to kind of go through. I don't want to say the motions without having Kevin Stefanski there, and I don't know how COVID's affected the defensive play calling side of things.
Olivier Vernon's out this weekend too. Jeez.
Yep. Ruptured Achilles, I believe.
Yeah, it's one after the other. But defensively, they've played pretty damn good football. They've got a great front, opportunistic secondary that can create some opportunities. You got Big Ben coming off of the bye week, if for lack of a better terms, last week.
Right.
And he hasn't looked great coming into that. So, how does this team sort of defensively scheme to stop what at one point was a very high-powered Big Ben passing attack?
I have no idea, dude. We got some holes on defense. The safety position scares the hell out of me. You never know which Steelers offense is going to show up. I guess it's a wait and see. I mean, I think their best scheme is to keep the ball out of their hands.
Yeah. And that you can do. They're
built to do that.
No matter what, right? You have your offensive line, most of them, and you have your running backs. And Baker has been he's had his moments where he was bad, but generally he can play, good, smart, efficient football, and I think that you're right. I think that's a good recipe to beat a team that has struggled, right? We've seen the Steelers play one good half basically in the last month, and they were kind of falling apart, and 1 week does not automatically fix everything that's wrong. It certainly doesn't fix the mental issues that the Steelers have been having. I think that the defense can step up. The Cleveland defense can step up, keep the ball away from. I really do. I do think you got a shot. I'm not writing in Steelers or anything just yet.
Right. You guys know how good it feels to have a quarterback that you're not scared of anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the pictures of the jerseys with the names all the way down there. So, yeah,
the first time in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's woof.
Yeah, I went from Jameis Winston to Tom Brady, so I certainly feel better about my quarterback from a week-to-week standpoint. Yeah.
All right, so like I said at the top of this is all new to you, but at the end of the day, we need you to give us a pick for this game and give us the final score. Where are you sitting with this one?
Pittsburgh 31-23.
All right.
Am I on the same episode as Steve?
No.
You're on your own.
Nope, we pair you in matchups.
Good.
See, if you don't know why we're laughing, get in the Just Another Football group on Facebook. It's a
good time.
It's a
We're
good
having
time.
fun.
I would also like to say that the French Toast Mafia got royally screwed.
Yeah, that's partially my fault. I
put me on the record.
will apologize to you for that currently. we haven't talked a whole lot about that league because a lot of things happened that were my fault. So
We didn't do too good either.
well, yeah, we didn't do too good, which really helped us not wanting to talk about it. But yeah, my bad, sir. I will tell you, you are absolutely correct about that.
All
right.
Try
Well,
again next year.
We appreciate. Yeah, that's true. We appreciate
Said the Browns fan.
Yeah, no shit. We appreciate having you on. Stranger things have happened. Maybe we will be talking to you next week.
There's
Who
a
knows?
reason they play the games.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. That's it. We did it.
Hey.
Did all 6 games.
All
2 extra
12,
games
there
this
it is.
week. 12 people. We talked to 12 people. Talked to 12 people
And it's 8 o'clock tonight. Like,
behind the curtain over the course of 2 days. That's not something we normally do, but committed to what we're doing here. We're having some fun. We enjoy it.
and
I did
We
everyone-
appreciate it.
I did not realize that you were
I
recording
thought we
this.
just-
I thought we were just
I thought we were
just
bantering,
I thought we were just chit-chatting.
chit-chatting it.
Nope.
But
Yeah.
I love talking to the fans, and Kaedin even there, got me excited for this team, right? He was more long-term optimism than
Yeah.
short-term optimism, right? We're going to call
That's
it that.
fine.
But that's perfectly fine. They've been dealt a shit hand. I said that.
I think you could say that about a few teams that we've talked to in the last couple days. That there's reason to potentially be excited going forward. Maybe not now, but going forward, they've got some optimism.
Like,
so
his team could legitimately be in the worst position, and he was probably the happiest guy we talked to, right? Like,
Yeah.
Just happy to be
just
here. man.
happy to be here. He didn't know what to do with his hands. He was just ecstatic, and the relief that he felt by having a competently run team. It's one of those things where I
Maybe-
guess we've all kind of been there. Our teams have all been there.
maybe
where
maybe
once you get past,
Yeah.
oh,
Maybe
it's the
maybe you
relief.
take that for granted. You know, you're used to success.
Yep.
That anything less than that, you just
Yeah.
the little things. Enjoy the little things in life.
Caden, I get it. I appreciate it. I'm a Cubs fan, so
Yeah, he's
I
also
mean,
a
we got
Chiefs
there.
fan. He's
We
on
got
op-
there, but
He's on all the.
I mean,
all the
it
sides
was
here.
50 some years for the Chiefs, so
Yeah.
and they went 20 years without winning a playoff game. So
But they were still good and were getting. there,
well,
you
a couple
know.
times they
20
did
years
get there
without
and
going
then
to a
shit the
playoff
bed.
game.
This is true. I'm not trying to take any thunder from Caden as a Browns fan.
None of us.
No one wants that thunder.
Yeah.
None of us are Lions fans.
That
So
is
that's fine.
true. We can all rejoice.
We
in
always
that
dunk
fact.
on the Lions.
All right, so that's gonna do it for us. Make sure you guys are checking out Friday. We'll be coming at you on the podcast feed. Join the Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. That link will be out there. Make sure you subscribe. You'll get whenever the podcast hits the old market. You'll see it. You'll get it. You'll be able to listen to it right away. We'll give you all our previews. We're gonna pick the games. We're gonna give you scores on all 6 games. So a lot still to do for us, but until next week when we talk to some fans again.
Yep.
Not as many this time.
Not as many.
That's gonna be just different, right? Like those are different
Mm-hmm.
conversations. People are coming in with a different view.
Yes.
and two new fans.
so-
Two
yeah,
new fans.
2 new fans.
Yeah.
So it's just a different conversation, and
And 6 not with us anymore.
and there's a world where we're talking to people who did not expect to be there, right? So I'm kind of excited just to see how all of that plays out because that's when it gets real fun.
Yeah, this is true. So, for 2 great fans, I've said it every time. It's true. We appreciate
12
fans.
great
Love
fans.
having
Give-
them on. Yeah,
give
12
them
great
all the
fans at this
kudos.
point. Appreciate all of you guys that took the time to talk to us for these 2 fucksticks. Maybe I shouldn't give them that status. They've busted their asses this week.
You can't be nice to us
Done
now.
some extra work. You're not wrong. This has been just another football show.
Bye.
See ya.
That's one